Yo, what is good, YouTube? Krishan checking back in with another video. Let's start today's video off with a recent update from the mutant Nick Walker ahead of the New York Pro. And recently, there's been a little bit of a debate surrounding vacuums in men's open bodybuilding, and I'll keep it pretty short and sweet. I think vacuums are cool, but guys should also show the abs as well, like Heidi Chupin typically does. As far as a vacuum on Nick Walker's physique, there's really no reason because he has great blocked out abs. Now, Nick Walker's looking pretty good here. I'm a little bit worried about the quad size, not going into the New York Pro, but going into the Mr. Olympia when he's going to be next to guys like Heidi and Samson. But I actually went back and looked at the images of Nick Walker prior to the hamstring injury, and I remembered we cannot count out the mutant Nick Walker. Hopefully the hamstring injury didn't hinder his quad growth too much, but as many people have said before, Nick Walker will probably never have good quads because he doesn't really have the best insertions, and I've seen that in my comments numerous times. But again, do not count out the mutant Nick Walker. Now in the next update of the day, we have a recent update from Hunter Labrada, who is looking very impressive. Hunter looks massive here. And this was actually posted up by his coach Ben Chow, and Ben said they have about another month or two before they dust off the Stairmaster. So I would assume that maybe Hunter's gonna start prep in about a month or two. But I do think that Hunter Labrada is gonna be a dark horse this year. Based off the updates I'm seeing from him in the offseason, I think we're gonna see a very good version of Hunter Labrada this year. But Hunter typically looks good going into the show. Hunter just has to peak properly and not sweat a lot on stage. So we'll see how that goes. And personally, I've been very impressed by the updates of Hunter Labrada over the past few weeks. Hunter has definitely added some size, back looks better, and he's also keeping his midsection in control while gaining all this size. And in the next update of the day, we have a recent update from Martin Fitzwater ahead of this weekend's Detriot Pro, and the quads on this guy are just insane. I think we're in for a very good battle of Martin Fitzwater versus good Vito, unless Justin Rodriguez shakes some things up. And I know so far going into the Detriot Pro, I've said that Martin Fitzwater is definitely my favorite and my pick to win. But going back and looking at videos of good Vito from the Arnold South America, I'm not so sure. Vito brought a pretty impressive look. He brought good conditioning, but Martin Fitzwater does have the edge once it comes to the back poses. But I think it's going to be a pretty good show. Let me know in the comment section below, who do you guys have winning? And while we're on the topic of the Detriot Pro, I do want to talk about something great Fouad Abiad is doing. And I know it's a little bit funny, Fouad doing something great, but all jokes aside, this is actually incredible. So the most muscular award at the Detriot Pro will be named after Luke Sandow. The most shredded award will be named after John Meadows, and the best poser award will be named after Cedric McMillan. And may all three of them rest in peace. All great bodybuilders, had a lot of great knowledge and gave back to the sport of bodybuilding. And I think it's great that Fouad is doing this. Now, for the drama of the week in men's open bodybuilding, we have Rafa Brandão versus Tonio Burton. You guys are currently looking at an essay that Rafa Brandão typed out and put on his story. And of course, Tonio Burton did put out a response. If you guys want this to be read to you, you can go over to Nick Strength and Power, where he carefully reads through all of this. But I'm going to give you guys the cliff notes brought to you by Buys and Tries over on Instagram. So, Tonio Burton, he wasn't conditioned enough to win any pose. If you had someone like Steve or Tyler judging, he's not making a call out with that conditioning. He has lumps in his glutes. So let's address the first sentence. Tonio said Rafa wasn't conditioned enough to win any pose. Personally, I would disagree with that, especially at the prejudging. Now, you do have guys that are more high on conditioning. You do have guys that are more high on mass. But at the end of the day, this was not a conditioning competition. It's who has the best balance of muscularity, conditioning, symmetry, and all of those good things. And Rafa Brandão definitely did have lumps in his glutes. And the last thing that he said, if you had someone like Steve or Tyler judging, he's not making a call out with their conditioning. Rafa was going to make that first call out at the Arnold Brazil pretty much regardless. And I also want to talk about another statement that Tonio Burton put out. No one showed any disrespect other than what you did on stage to myself and Vito, and then gave a push at the end of it. Let's be honest, you were defeated backstage, hanging your head down. Even your team came to say congrats to us. So as far as the backstage thing, no one can really comment on that outside of Tonio, because he was the guy backstage and he said he saw Rafa holding his head down. And Rafa was very gassed, which Tonio also mentioned. It seemed like he got special privilege and was able to walk off the stage when he was out of breath, but Tonio and Vito had to stay on the line, and of course that is according to Tonio. And I actually went back and forth with Tonio before making this video, and it seems like to me he was basically saying he felt like Rafa got special treatment because they were in Brazil. He was able to walk off stage and, you know, wipe off sweat while other guys had to stay on the line. And also he felt like Rafa was being hostile towards him for pretty much no reason at all. And if you guys don't remember, in my finals video, I said I felt like Rafa was being a little hostile on stage, and that just wasn't friendly at all, very unsportsmanlike. And truthfully, I did lose respect for Rafa Brandão after just seeing how he acted on stage. I mean, we all know you're a tough competitor, you're there to compete, you're not really there to make friends, but I saw it as honestly disrespect. I've seen Rafa next to Samson numerous times on stage, and Rafa has never done anything he did next to Tonio next to Samson Dowda. And I kind of went off into a rant, but let's address this last post by Rafa and then we'll wrap up. So Rafa said, "It's not my fault if you at your best weren't able to beat me. You were your maximum conditioning, still had no separation in your quads and hamstrings, no detail in the shoulders and chest, and competed with little muscle volume." And I can be honest, there's a little bit of truth to this, but it's definitely exaggerated. Tonio could use better separation in the hamstrings, but the quads were separated. Chest and shoulders have detail, but could definitely use more, and Tonio could definitely use more overall size. Again, if you guys want the full breakdown, you can go over to NSP and check it out, but I'm just going to keep it short and sweet. Rafa Brandão, I just lost a lot of respect for him after seeing what he did on stage at the Arnold Classic South America, and based off what I've seen, I pretty much believe everything that Tonio is saying about Rafa and about the things that went down. That's just me personally. But let's go ahead and wrap up today's video here with the archive of the day. You guys let me know in the comment section below, who is this legendary bodybuilder? And as always, I hope you guys did indeed enjoy this video. And if you haven't done so already, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm Christian from GOAT Fitness, and that's it. I'm out.